There's several reasons why people would want to do that, right? And the only problem that we normally have is to explain to people that the Wi-Fi isn't like what you have at home, where you need to reset it every few days or once a week. That these are commercial grade Wi-Fi systems. That the one in the lab we've had it running for 2 years, and I think we reset it once because we ended up doing some really crazy stuff. And something to do with the number of nodes that we were trying to run at the same time that needed one reset in 2 years, which you wouldn't get with one of our client systems because we wouldn't do these crazy experiments with it. Obviously, it would just run. So imagine you have a historic house and somebody comes to you and says, hey, I want to put an AV system in it. And the electrician says, great idea. We got 10 lines of conduit here. And if we can just go through your beautiful ceiling over there and run a couple of conduits over there. We were talking about aerospace work. And I worked at an R&D agency in England that was in a 19th century it was in a 19th century mansion that was built by a Swiss fur trader. And my lab used to be the ballroom. And the ceilings and the floor were beautiful until it became my lab, in which case there was more conduit in there you could shake a stick at. And the floor got damaged because we needed to bring conduit up and all that kind of stuff. And you're looking at that, and you're like, this is really not a good idea. So yes, people are responding very favorably to not having to do all that infrastructure. Partly because of the lack of conduit, and in historic houses for sure. Partly because of the cost and the impact that it has and the amount of effort that is involved. Because normally when you have these parallel streams running during a real project, you can't afford to get behind the architect and they can't afford to get behind you because otherwise you don't get the right conduit in and the cable needs to be pulled and all of that kind of stuff. So it matters from that point of view. But it also matters because if you imagine the first system, the first pure QuickSilver system we put in was in a place where everybody else had 2 racks of equipment. And we looked at it and were like, yeah, conventionally, it'll be 2 racks worth of equipment, amplifiers, servers, all the other stuff. And basically, the client had prepared a rack room that was going to have all this conduit in this historical building. And it was going to have an HVAC that they needed to put in the rack room to keep it all clean. And when we came in with a solution and said, well, actually, our whole AV system fits in a toolbox, and the guys actually, I have a picture of the guys putting it onto the belt at the airport because they actually carried it to site, right? So all of a sudden, we're like, no HVAC, no, we got a couple of things we want the electrician to do, but it's nothing special. No, we don't need a control room. Oh, you wanted it for retail? Yeah, we really just don't need that room. There's no point. We have a show control computer. If we can put it underneath your reception desk, then we'll just share one of the monitors on your reception desk that you're using already. So we'll do our programming on our own monitor and then we'll connect it to yours. And if anything needs to happen, you can look at it and do things and you turn it back to your retail screen and you're back up and running again. I mean, how would you react if you were the owner and you had those 2 options?